you need a sign, banner, or business cards for your business, who do you call? Hi, this is Kent Adams.
And Tom MacArthur from Business Talks. Kent and I call Instant Sign Factory for our signs, banners, business cards, and more.
Dave at Instant Sign Factory is our go-to guy for printing, and he always does excellent work for us.
Check them out online. They've got an all-new website, InstantSignFactory.com.
Tell them Kent and Tom from Business Talks sent you. Instant Sign Factory.
Welcome to Let's Talk Spokane, where host Ryan McNeese seeks out and discusses the latest on a variety of hot local topics. Now, here's your host, Ryan McNeese.
Welcome to the program. This is Let's Talk Spokane. I'm Ryan McNeese, and I am here in the studio with Peggy Doering of ValleyFest. Thanks for joining us again, Peggy. And I must say, we had a great conversation last week chatting about ValleyFest and all the great activities you have going on, and then we promptly deleted it.
I like do-over. I think this is great, Ryan. Thank you very much.
The problem is you did such a great job the last time, so you'll do a great job this time, too.
Well, we hope so. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, let's jump right in talking about ValleyFest. ValleyFest, you were a part of founding this 28 years ago, right?
Yes.
Give us a little history of how this started.
Well, this started with a group of interested citizens in the city, in the Spokane Valley. We were in the county at that time. And they met around a kitchen table in Sue DeLucchi's home and said, let's do something for kids to give exposure to the arts and the culture and what services there are to the families here in the Spokane Valley.
Right. What are some needs? What are some things that could really be exciting to do in the Valley for kids?
Mm-hmm. So they went out and contacted community leaders, Greg Bever with the Spokesman Review at the time, and Patty Kilcup over at Tidyman's Grocery Store, and the County Parks and Recreation, and the county commissioners. And they brought all these people together and said, this is what we would like to do. And from that kitchen table, the first year, they had the use of Terrace View Park. They brought in one food vendor. I think Domino's Pizza was the first one. Some entertainment from the schools, and 4,000 people showed up.
So it sounds like, from the way you're describing it, in a sense, a kitchen table, the idea on a napkin, so to speak. But when you guys reached out to the community, it sounded like they bought in pretty quickly.
Yes, they did.
And from that point to Terrace View, you were putting on your first festival.
We were.
So let's talk more about that. How did that first festival look? And you mentioned the few vendors that were involved. What were the activities?
Well, we always invited nonprofits, because remember, in the Spokane Valley at that time, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the campfire offices were all in the city of Spokane. The YMCA was above Tidyman's Grocery Store.
Yep.
So it was services, or what the nonprofits could offer kids, weren't readily available for people to understand what there was available to them. So by having them in the park that day, we gave them booth space if they provided a free activity for kids. And from there on, that's been one of the cornerstones of ValleyFest, is to give information to families and to citizens that are seeking what services they can access in the Spokane Valley.
Right.
So last year, in our 27th year, we had 65 nonprofits still doing the same free activities for kids, and encouraging people to either volunteer with them or to find out what their mission is, or to join.
Well, and I mean, I think it's become pretty clear that original idea that was sparked by an identified need in the Valley has come to quite a bit of fruition. 28 years later, how many people do you think are showing up to ValleyFest on a yearly basis now?
We estimate 30,000 people in 2 days, and then about 10,000 people attend the parade on Friday night.
See, that's really impressive. And I think, as you stated early on, all of these activities are free for the kids.
Correct.
So for families that may or may not go to the county fair, which is a great activity as well, but can be quite expensive for families, probably more expensive than people think when they show up. But ValleyFest has all of these diverse free activities for the kids.
Right. And we have always believed that we need to give exposure to arts and culture in the community and from outside the community. We also need to have science questing, looking for information about our environment and about the world that we live in. So we always have many activities going on around those main themes. We have 3 entertainment stages. We have a family stage that is smaller acts, local performers, school groups. We have a festival stage with your larger bands.
Okay.
Usually we receive a grant from the Washington State Arts Commission because we are able to attract talent from the area that represents our culture. And so we've had some wonderful entertainment over the years.
Well,
at
no
ValleyFest.
doubt a diversity of activities. I think, did you mention that you just added an ale festival aspect to this?
Right. 2 years ago, we, over at Center Place, in case you're not familiar where we are now, let me backtrack a little bit here.
Yeah. Because we started at Terrace View.
Yeah, we started at Terrace View, but when we became a city, ValleyFest moved to a huge space over at Mirabou Point Park. And then a year later, we acquired the space over at Center Place Regional Events Center. And so we kind of kept branching out and adding more and more activities and working with other nonprofits and other groups. For instance, we have a great car show. We worked or partnered with the Inland Northwest Car Club Council, and now we're with the Locals Car Club Council. Anyway, so 2 years ago, back to the Ale Fest, to the beer, we had been having a beer and wine garden patio with entertainment over at Center Place. A couple of local breweries approached me and said, we would like to feature the beer that we're business and the people we're doing here in the valley locally. And so working with Center Place, the caterer, and with these gentlemen, we put together Ale Fest. And
I think that's fantastic. It's such a I think the beer and wine culture, the ale and microbrewery and some of these smaller wineries here locally, there's such great product in our area that it seems appropriate to do that. I think that was a great idea on your part.
In our developing our relationship with the city of Spokane Valley for the last 13 years, one of my other underlying missions with ValleyFest is economic development of the city and showcasing the businesses, the people, what services we have available, and our natural environment, the river, the Centennial Trail, and our parks. And so I work with a lot of different businesses and a lot of different groups in order to bring the valley together.
Absolutely. And I know you just mentioned the river. You've had triathlons in the past that integrate not only a run, a bike, but also, wasn't there kayaking and or
canoe kayak?
Yeah, on the river right there at Mirabou.
So last year, with the construction of the Sullivan Road Bridge and the river flow situation, we took out the river part of it. We're trying to put it back in for 2017. As we went to a multi-sports Sunday, starting at Plants Ferry Park, because we've kind of outgrown the space over it.
That's a good sign. I mean, look at your history. 28 years ago, you're at Terrace View Park. Now you're outgrowing Mirabou, which is a huge space to begin with.
Well, over 76 acres. I am outgrowing it.
Wow.
Yes, I am.
That's impressive.
Well, that's because the community comes together. This is all community-driven, volunteer-driven. We work with lots of different groups.
How many volunteers do you think are participating on a yearly basis?
Oh, we have well over 250 volunteers that work with ValleyFest. And some of them are like DS Connections. They have the Step Up for Down Syndrome Walk. And they are, I want to say, self-contained within ValleyFest.
Right.
They have their own core group of volunteers that help produce that piece of it.
That participate for their activities.
Correct. The Car Show Club, they bring their own volunteers to participate in that. So I'm including some of those core people.
But it takes a village, as they say, but it certainly does take all these diverse organizations to put it on. So having their folks on the ground makes sense. How has, like, for instance, the car show, I'd imagine, at least for me, I'd be very interested in that and have seen it in the past. How has that grown over the years? Has it been pretty significant?
It's been very significant. And if Jimmy is listening to this, he would like more space. So Well,
I vote for that.
Yes.
Because I think the more cars, the better.
Yeah. They come from all over, too. They come from all over the state of Washington, Montana, and Idaho.
Right. That's a culture all into itself. If you're a car lover, those folks will travel all over the country to do those shows.
They trailer their cars to bring them here.
Oh, yeah, got to keep them clean and in pristine shape.
Mm-hmm. So last year we had 175 cars at the car show.
How many do you have the first time you did the car show, if you can remember?
Over at Terraceview Park, I think we bent some arms and we had 6.
Oh, my gosh. That's got to be pretty darn satisfying for you to look back, and I know yourself and many others, Mary Farley was in that original founding group as well, to see the progress. And I'll go further and say to see how the community has been so receptive to the original idea and to the need, really, of having this engagement at the festival. It's really impressive.
What is fun, what separates ValleyFest to me is that it is community.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're able to interact with people. You're able to have conversations. We have always limited the use of audiovisual and generators and electronics. So the games and activities are more interactive, person to person, face to face. So you feel like you have a connection.
More traditional.
Very, very much so. And we've kind of had to give a little on some of that as
technology has progressed.
Correct.
And what the kids are interested in.
Correct.
I mean, a lot of these kids these days, they're looking at their iPhones 24 hours a day.
So we went to STEM robotics about 3 years ago. We did have another event called Taste of the Valley, which was a wine tasting. Many people started doing wine tasting. It became a little bit harder to engage people at a ticketed price. So we said, well, that was a good idea. What can we substitute? So we put in STEM and robotics, and this has been huge.
Big deal. That's a big deal. And
huge.
We're actually going to take a quick break, but what I do want to come back to is chatting about the STEM programs and activities you've put in place, because that's a very popular and important organization of events. I've talked with Ben Small, Central Valley School District, who's also been in the studio chatting about that as well. So I'm really excited about that. Let's chat a little more about that. And also, I know you're doing hot air balloons as well, and that's always a big draw. So we'll come right back after the break.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations! You found where Spokane Talks online. Tell your friends.
Ponderosa Republican Women will be holding its annual gala silent auction on Thursday, December 8th at 11:30 a.m. at the Red Lion River Inn. That's at 700 North Division in Spokane. And lunch is $17 per person. The speaker will be from Hearth Homes, a local charitable organization. Please email ponderosarw@comcast.net to reserve your lunch, or call Gretchen at 624-2562. Kids learn about money from their parents. They know whether you tend to save up for fun purchases or pull out the credit card when temptation strikes. Since they're learning from you, talk to your kids about using their money wisely. Start by admitting your own mistakes, talking about your family budget, and discussing the importance of sharing some of your money with causes that are important to you. There are gentle ways to help them become wise stewards of their own money. To learn more, go to stcumoney.org.
What's that, a newspaper? I didn't think people still read newspapers.
Well, the Spokesman Review sure has a lot of readers.
Yeah?
Here, I'll show you. Let's play a little game.
Okay.
We're going on a cruise. Close your eyes and imagine a big cruise ship full of passengers out on the high seas.
Big boat, high seas. I do love a cruise. How many people do you think are on the boat?
The average cruise ship carries about 3,000 passengers.
Okay, that's a lot of life vests, sure.
Now imagine 100 cruise ships, 300,000 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, but what does it all mean?
That's how many people read the Spokesman Review every week.
Really?
Yeah, on average, 300,000 people read the Spokesman Review in print or online each week. If they all went on a cruise, they'd fill 100 cruise ships.
300,000 readers a week? That's amazing. I really had no idea.
Most people don't. That's why we're running this ad. In print and online, the Spokesman Review delivers customers for your business.
Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Spokane. We're here with Peggy Doering of ValleyFest, and right before the break, we were chatting about a couple different activities at ValleyFest, amongst others, but one real important set of activities, I think, is your investment in the STEM programs. Tell us a little bit about that.
3 years ago, I was visiting with our board of directors, and we were discussing the fact that the 10 to 15-year-olds needed to have more engagement in ValleyFest. And so we met with Kelly Clark with Exploring Families, and we explored the idea of robotics and STEM, which we contacted different groups that were operating programs for kids in the community. 4-H was one.
Right.
The Navy, Eastern Washington University, all the high schools.
Did you say the Navy? Uh-huh. That's interesting.
Yes, the Navy has a underwater robotic program over here in Bayview.
That's interesting. That makes sense at the naval base there.
And then they they work with young people in the community on a prototype of that can be put into like a large stock tank of water. So.
Well, I know the STEM programs are just a critical piece, I think, of our community and the education foundation right now. I've talked to, as we said earlier in the show, Ben Small came on the show and chat about the STEM opportunities in Central Valley School District. Mark Heimbigner from Itron chatted with us about how for-profit private corporations are really pushing STEM programs. It's their workforce in transitioning the millennials and into these very important pieces of our economic programs here.
So the kids come with their activities. We have everything from the toothbrush robots to the frisbee throwing robots to the climbing ones. I mean, it's an activity's unbelievable. 300 to 400 kids and their families are in there. We have some TED Talk programs where you can, try to build a bridge with spaghetti and duct tape.
Yep, that's fascinating.
And it helps people learn how to think and plan and do a project. We also had the man that was on Shark Tank with his drones from Sandpoint. He came and he had the drones inside Center Place. And
is there quite a bit of, with the STEM program and the robotic activities, quite a bit of engagement between the parents and the kids?
Yes, there is.
Okay. And so parents are bringing their kids and interacting with them on site at ValleyFest.
Correct. There's a lot of energy in that room.
I like that.
It is. And it hit the target audience that we needed. Wanted to engage into ValleyFest. And then we also have the Legos. And I would like to have more of a Lego program. So that's one of my big dreams, is to continue that with some different companies around the United States, that we can do larger projects with this.
Yeah, and are you talking about Legos and robotics combined?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you could certainly find folks in this area. There's a lot of folks that are fairly engaged with that.
Yeah.
And then I think we were chatting a little bit about the hot air balloons. Now that's an interesting one because so weather dependent.
Correct.
As to whether you can actually launch or not launch on the given day that you're scheduled. How has that turned out for you over
Well, 8
over
years
time?
ago, Stephanie Hughes came to me, and she wanted to start a hot air balloon rally in Spokane. She had been a hot air balloon pilot since she was 11 out of Moses Lake, and quite connected into that whole community of people that enjoy hot air balloons. So we put together a plan and launched, so to speak, hot air balloons.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. And it also includes physics and science.
Yep. There's that STEM.
That STEM again. And so it is weather dependent. We have the entire week of ValleyFest. It's very visual. We usually get 5 to 7 pilots coming to Spokane or from this area participating in the program. We don't have, with our 2 airports here and with a lot of development, it's kind of hard to do a huge rally because we don't have the open space.
Okay, that's interesting. Some limitation there.
Yes, we do.
So is there one launch during ValleyFest or several?
Oh, there are several launches. And we also have a night glow of the hot air balloons on Saturday night.
I know when I've seen that on social media, that's a big draw. People, I've heard it all over town, people talking about the hot air balloon launches. That's
it's a beautiful party, I would say myself.
Right.
It gives over at Center Place on Saturday night with the outdoor patio, and we usually have a a jazz group playing out there. The robotics are inside Center Place at that time. They can't hear anything outside. We have the hot air balloons glowing on the lawn, and I would say we have more than a couple of hundred people outside watching all of this. And in addition, we have the Astronomical Society of Spokane. They have the night scopes over in the park. Mirabou Point Park does not have night lighting or fluorescent lighting in the park, so you really do get a very good, clear vision of the sky.
Right.
And then we also have an outdoor movie. So ValleyFest starts on Saturday at 6.
Let's talk about the dates before we forget that.
ValleyFest will be September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in 2017. Our cycle celebration, which is July 30th, is a 10, 25, and 50-mile bike ride in the Spokane Valley, which we haven't really talked about.
Yeah.
Yes. We also have a float, and we also have the Miss Spokane Valley pageant.
Well, let's throw in a couple things you just said. The float, obviously, is at the parade.
Correct.
So is this the first year that ValleyFest will actually have their own float?
It was.
You've been in I see you every year.
Yes.
You and Mary.
We're in the car.
You're leading the pack.
We are.
But you're going to have an actual float this year.
We had a wonderful family come to us this year, and he works for Precision Fabrication Company in Liberty Lake.
Yeah.
And I kind of blanked on the name, but they built the Hearts of Gold float for us and the stands for the princesses to stand in. And so we had our inaugural float in Chewelah this year.
Okay.
And so we're ready to go for next year. We go out into the communities around Spokane in the summertime with our royalty, 7 to 8 parades, including the Lilac
and
Festival.
I didn't realize you were doing that many.
Mm-hmm,
so the parade for ValleyFest though does kick off the festival though,
correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Friday night on Sprague Avenue.
All right. Well, that's
7:30.
That's certainly been a fun one. And over the years, I've been fortunate because our office happens to be about the middle of where the parade is, and it has grown significantly, hasn't it? I mean, we've talked about 28 years gone by, but really even in the last, I'd have to say 5, 6, 7 years, the parade itself, the amount of folks that are lining the streets in the valley, it's pretty darn impressive.
Well, it's wonderful because we're a nighttime parade. A lot of these floats that are in the outside communities have lights. Many of their parades are during the daytime. So we're at the end of the season for parades, and so they want to come with their beautiful floats from Davenport and Chewelah and Fairfield and Tico to be in our parade. And they bring lots of people with them. Mm-hmm. And then our own high schools put in their bands, and the kids and the schools all participate. We actually have a program where we encourage all the elementary schools to participate in the parade if they can with their families. And so we have a cast of thousands out there. It's a community parade. It is not an award parade. It is just...
okay, and so there's a distinction there for sure.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head, though, about the engagement or the fact that the diversity of activities or folks that are taking part in it are so widespread. For instance, we talked earlier about the car show and how that is a culture in and of itself, that people are coming from all over the country to participate. Same as you're saying about the parade. Folks from all different counties want to participate with their floats. All the microbreweries. I think you've done such a good job to really have such diversity of engagement from folks that genuinely want to participate in this community event. It's impressive.
I think sometimes we look inside into our own community, and we need to look outside of our community and see what's around us. And so I try to bring that to ValleyFest also. So a few years ago, we started looking at the United Nations International Year, and they have some fun themes. We had astronomy, so the Astronomical Society joined us. We had the International Year of Potatoes, so we had the Potato Council, and we had a lot of fun with that because we had a hot air balloon, the potato hot air balloon, ValleyFest.
I'd like to see that one.
Yes, and we also, this last year was the International Year of Pulses.
Okay.
And a pulse.
Yeah.
You want to know what a pulse is?
I wouldn't know what it was, so
Yes.
you're going to have to tell me.
Yes, okay. That's lentils, chickpeas, and dried beans. And they are grown right here in Spokane County and Whitman County. We provide the world's supply, 18% of that.
Well, I probably should have known that.
Yeah,
but
you should have known that,
I admit
right?
that I did not.
Yes. So we reached out to the Pea and Lentil Council down in Pullman. They provided mascots for us and information. We had product available at ValleyFest this year. And just pulling that same string, here's a
Yep.
pulse, and engaging people and talking to them and having Chelsea the chickpea running around the park.
That seems like something you definitely got to see for
Yes,
sure.
yes, so-
well, there is such a diversity of activities, and obviously so many different types of folks are interested in different items of this, but it certainly sounds like there's something for everybody. How does someone find out more about the different events? What's the website for ValleyFest?
ValleyFest.org. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter also.
Okay.
We also I can give you the phone number, which
Yeah,
is
what's the phone number?
922-3299.
Okay, so folks can call in and ask questions about timing and/or an activity.
Or if they want to volunteer, or if you belong to a nonprofit or to a group that you think would make a good fit with ValleyFest, or you want to have an association with us, we're willing to sit down and talk about it and see how it would all fit. Paralympics last year,
Okay.
we worked with them, and it was very exciting, and I did not come prepared with everyone's name today, but one of the woman who won the gold medal in Rio was at ValleyFest.
Oh, really? That's
And
neat.
you could have your picture taken with her. She had the medal with her. And the medal itself was in Braille. There's a sound part of it for the hard of hearing.
That is fascinating.
It was fascinating, and she spent
not know that.
she spent 2 days at ValleyFest talking about her experiences at the Olympics in Rio.
Well, Peggy, we're out of time, but we appreciate you coming back into the studio. And I think what just resonates for me is you've really, over 28 years with yourself and many volunteers, have figured out what our community is wanting. And you've been open to all these different activities that have transitioned over the years, and you've brought in so many different diverse activities to really fit that need. And I certainly appreciate it. I'm a Spokane Valley resident, and I look forward to not only being at the parade, but I want to come see the balloon launches this year. So
we will invite you.
All
and
right.
Brian, we might even put you up in one.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to put some thought to that.
Okay.
I've never done that. I would
Well-
certainly like to, but it scares me a little bit.
Well, you're media now, so we can put you up in a yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you
from
so much.
ValleyFest. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's Talk Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask us a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Thanks for listening.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well-trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org. I would like to tell you about our new sponsor, Stay Fierce Senior Fitness. Stay Fierce offers conditioning programs and personal training designed specifically for seniors. Owner and certified personal trainer Tim Brummett is himself 64 years old and has lost over 150 pounds in the last 3 years, so he knows how to work with seniors to get in shape. All workouts are in a private facility, not a big, busy gym. Just Tim and his clients. Visit StayFierceFitness.net to learn more. That's StayFierceFitness.net. Of course you can do it. Stay fierce.